Hey guys, we're going to be doing a test, a comparison. This is a soft impact oil impulse impact driver. This is a traditional impact driver. This isn't the brand new one that Makita has. This one's been out for about, I think, a year and a half, something like that. But it's still one of the best impact drivers on the market. And this is an oil impact, so it's super quiet. And this one is really loud. You go ta 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 ta. This one goes boom. So I'm interested in these because I'm always working in either someone's business while they're actually working, or I'm working in someone's house, and it's just kind of rude to take out this impact driver, even though it saves me a bunch of labor on putting muscle into it. They're so loud that they're inconvenience to my clients, so I don't ever use them. I just end up using just regular drills, so I'm not a disturbance to my clients. But this one is the exact same function, but it has a different mechanism inside to make it quieter. So I'm going to give you guys a quick little tour of them and see what the differences are. We're going to see the difference in power. Now these are both fully charged 5 amp hour batteries on these things. This one is brand new, and I've probably got maybe 30 minutes of use on this thing, so not a whole lot. Relatively new tools still. So we're going to listen to the sound of them, and also the speed of them, and anything else that comes to mind as I'm working with them. I've always been super curious about the differences between these things in function, and I haven't seen any videos out there showing it. So since I have them here, I'll do some tests and let you guys all come along with the ride. So this is something that immediately comes to mind, and just spinning them, they do sound different. This one, the bit in there actually spins a little bit more sporadically. It's not as true as this one. There's not a lot of vibration in the spindle as this one. This one wobbles a lot more. But I don't think that's because of this model being better. I know the newer Makitas, they improved on that. So I don't think that has anything to do with the oil impulse. I just think it's Makita's getting better at having less wobble on their spindles as they're on their bits as they're spinning. So first things first, let's hear the noise difference. So I'm just going to be using some 3/4 inch exterior grade screws. So here's the regular impact driver. Alright. Here, gotta get me a bit. Now let's try the noise of the oil impulse. Much better. Almost just kind of sounds like a vibration instead of an impact motion. Immediately, I would say it doesn't seem to be as fast as this. We'll do a speed test, but it doesn't feel as fast. But man, hot! Is there a big difference on the noise? And again, this will be much faster than a regular driver, but because I'm not even going to be using this on the job because it's so loud. So again, here's the noise on this one. Very loud. And the noise test on this guy. Yeah, perfectly acceptable for interior. I wouldn't feel bad about using that in a client's house at all. Alright, now for a speed test, I'm going to drill 5 screws as fast as I can, and we'll see what the difference is in speed. I try to do both drills at the same time, but I'm not getting them right. They're coming off, and I just can't seem to get proper pressure on my left hand while I'm doing it with my right hand too. So we're gonna do a couple of screws. I'll count up the frames after the video's done. Come on. Okay. There's 5 screws with the Oil Impulse, and now we'll try them out with the standard. All right. Now it's time for the speed test with the standard impact driver. Okay, well, the results are in. This is, driving-wise, a noticeably faster tool. This is a noticeably slower driving tool. But there's also something interesting going on, is the trigger in this traditional impact driver is a lot less sensitive than this one. Or I guess, I don't even know how to say, I guess it's a faster start in this one. This one is a slower start. And if you guys understand slow start versus fast starting motors, it's good to have a slower starting motor. This one, which is the soft impact, the Oil Impulse, is skipping off the bits a lot less than this one. Every single time in that test, I went down with the traditional. It was going so fast, so aggressive, that it was skipping off the bit, and I had good pressure on it. And I think that's just because the trigger is starting faster. And I don't know if that is directly from the trigger, or if that's because of the traditional impact driver versus the Oil Impulse. Overall, this was faster on the driving. But I will say this, if I skip off that bit one time in my cabinetry work and I gouge into the wood, that's going to cost me minimum 15 minutes of work to fix it. So yeah, I would never use this ever again in my work when I have the option to do this. Even when I had to use them, I would never use them at full speed because it's so easy to jump off the bit. So yeah, a noticeably faster drive time. Now if you are doing working on decks or something like that, that if you skip off the screw and you gouge the wood a little bit, it's not a big problem. Then this is obviously going to be your best tool, especially if you don't have to worry about the noise. If you have to work on very delicate work that you have to be quiet and you can't have that bit skipping off of the screw, the Oil Impulse over the traditional is going to be your better tool. And for me, this is the better tool. And like I was saying, I don't know if it's because of the motors are different or if it's just from the triggers. It's possible because this is a little bit older of a model. It's possible that Makita upgraded their trigger sensitivity and their soft start of their motors with the trigger as they went along. And it's possible that that the brand new versions of Makita's drivers, it's possible that they have the same soft start. I don't know. I don't have one. Still, this one I think is only 1.5 to 2 years old. It's still a pretty new tool, and this one is about a year old as well for their model. So not too much difference on their release date. So I would also say that because of the soft start that's on this Oil Impulse, this is going to be an easier tool for you to get the hang of. If you don't want to skip off the bits and you want to just drive home super fast, ultimately, if you become an expert at ramping up on this and not skipping off the bits, this is going to be a faster tool for you, which is the traditional impact driver, the loud one. That's going to be a better, faster driving tool, but it's going to have a longer learning curve if you don't want to be skipping off those bits. This one is going to be easier to learn, less of a learning curve, and for depending on what kind of work you do, it's definitely going to be the better tool. Not only that, this one is a bigger tool. This is a smaller tool. Now you can see when we're looking straight ahead that this one over here, the Oil Impulse, is a little bit fatter. Now it's a little bit skinnier on the back, which is interesting. The very back of it is a little bit thinner on the Oil Impulse. But overall, it is a wider tool. It is also a little bit taller, just very slightly. And it's also longer. It's a longer tool. The Oil Impulse is a longer tool. When it comes to weight, I can't feel a difference on the weight. They feel to be a very similar weight. There's probably a very slight difference between the two. But weight-wise, they feel very similar. So very similar tools, but also got some different functions between them. Both fantastic tools. And if you just got one or the other, you'd be very happy with it, unless you can't have the noise of this one and you really need to watch your bit skipping off. So I would say that this is a more versatile tool, but for just driving screws home, and if you got a lot of big lag bolts and stuff like that and you just need to get the job done quick, obviously just get the old traditional one. That's gonna suit you best. But for someone who's doing work like I am, the Oil Impulse is definitely the way to go for me. Thank you guys for stopping by. If you enjoyed it or didn't enjoy it, please hit the like or dislike buttons and let me know in the comment section why. And I appreciate you stopping by.